Hello, welcome to Hollywood Crime Scene. This is Rachel Fisher.
Hi, this is Desi Jedeikin. We're back for a final episode in the series on Marlon Brando. We have a lot to get to today.
This is part 5.
He was busy his last 10 years, Rachel. This man did not slow down with his weirdness or all of his projects. I just want to say that I'm sure I will leave something out. Maybe one day we'll have an episode of all the things we didn't talk about in episodes where people were like, why didn't you talk about this? Even though we did 5 hours on them. You can't get to everything.
That's the sad thing is you can't get to everything.
I know about things that I'm not going to talk about today that I know would be good. I had to cut things. So that's where we're at.
She's going on the offensive today, girls.
I'm going on the offense. I'm just saying up front, I know I'm missing things. But I got to do what I got to do.
And if you hear the air conditioning in the background,
it's really hot here today, so that's just going to happen.
It is 100 degrees inside my house, probably.
So anyway, our sources this week, one of them is from the last few episodes, The Contender by William Mann. I also used a lot of articles that I will tell you about when I get to those sections. They're not for each part, just for particular parts.
You're on top of it,
I'm on
Desi.
top of it. So we're going to go back to 1994. Even though last episode we did kind of go into the future to finish out the Christian Brando storyline, now we're back with Marlon in 1994. Due to Christian's legal issues, Marlon is once again in desperate need of money. Dial-a-Fart has not taken off like he wanted, sadly, even though that is a $1 billion idea, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So in addition to signing on to a book deal for his memoir, he once again is going back into the movie biz, and he signs on to do 2 films, Don Juan DeMarco, co-starring Johnny Depp, as well as The Island of Dr. Moreau. Now, 1994 is an insanely busy year for Marlon, both personally and professionally. Like, he has all of this family drama going on, and he's really busy with prepping for these movies and writing this fucking book. Now, before his upcoming films, his last acting role was in a horrible biopic on Christopher Columbus. No one wants that.
Did he play Christopher Columbus?
He played, what's that guy's name? Torquemond.
Who?
Torca. It's like Torque, Monda. Like
Torquemond.
I don't know who that guy is.
The Torkelsons?
Maybe he's like the Spanish king or something. He's some bad dude.
He's another bad dude.
Every guy in this movie sucks, probably.
Yeah, every character.
No one wants this bio.
Every, Spanish European character in that movie sucks ass.
It's probably evil. That name sounds evil. So Brando won a Razzie Award for Best Supporting Actor for that role. And Don Juan DeMarco is actually a cute movie. Did you see this movie? It's like a rom-com, I guess. The story is about a young man named John, played by Johnny Depp, who believes he is Don Juan, the legendary lover. He seeks treatment from a psychiatrist to cure his delusion. That psychiatrist is played by Marlon Brando, who in the movie is married to Faye Dunaway. She's playing a character, but she's in the movie too. So obviously Johnny Depp was a massive Brando fan and was beyond thrilled to be working with the legend. They would become lifelong friends. And it kind of makes sense since at the time, Johnny Depp was kind of a modern day Brando. He was like the hot, rebellious actor guy, kind of a weirdo as well. And this is like Johnny Depp when he was still cool.
This was his peak.
Yeah. So Depp spoke about his time on set with Brando. He was most struck by his sense of humor. And Brando himself gave an interview with Variety at the time saying he was having a great time on set and had never been happier. The set was filled with practical jokes, and Depp said that there was no one more gifted in this arena or as skilled a craftsman as Marlon. Of course, another constant on the set was Marlon making fart noises. This never ends. This led to some clashes on the set. I tried to find out what kind of clashes fart noises caused, but I couldn't find specific examples. I'm just guessing it was kind of like can we just get through this scene type of stuff?
Now, was he using a machine or was he doing it with his mouth?
We'll get through this. Depp said he possessed the sense of humor, which we both shared of a child. I once asked him why it was that farts were always funny, and he replied, because they are blatantly antisocial. Now, I find this story by a writer named Roz Tibbs for Far Out. She wrote,
Fart Out?
Far Out. What if there was a fart out?
I thought it was like in a magazine for fart aficionados.
I would read that. I would subscribe to that. just on premise. So she has interviewed Depp, I guess, for some reason, and he tells this long story that I'm going to go into now. Now, at some point, Brando asked Depp to take a look at a small part in a film set in Ireland that he was going to do, and he wanted Johnny Depp to come around on. And he didn't really give him much information, but of course, Johnny Depp was like, sure, I'll do it. And they were like, let's get together, talk about this film role and catch up. And Johnny Depp decided to seize this chance to get back at Brando because he had been on the receiving end of these practical jokes of Brando's that included farts for quite a long time at that point. He arrives at Brando's house to discuss this shoot, and Brando didn't know that Depp had hidden in his pocket a little rubber device that, if you kind of got it properly lubricated, would emit the most genuine sounding farts in the history of counter fart noises.
Wait, so this is like an advanced whoopee cushion?
I guess. It's like a high-tech version of a whoopee cushion that you don't have to sit on. You can kind of control it. So throughout the night, while they're having dinner, he would keep pressing this device to make these fart sounds at random moments. And Brando was kind of polite on the matter. He didn't really respond too much to it. But at some point, Depp really started farting, and then he could not hold back. He was laughing for literally, Depp said like a half hour, like during these fart things. But at some point, he's like, got worried. He's like, okay. He's like, that's not normal. Like, you're farting too much, John. You're not well. You're sick. You're ripping about 3 buttes a minute. That's not right. So then Johnny Depp is like, haha, like, I got you. And Brando, his face lit up when he saw that it had been this fart machine the whole time. Depp gifted him the fart machine. And when he gave it to Brando looked at it and he said, I've found God.
There's something so beautiful about one of our most famous, respected, iconic American actors being this into farts.
Like, so into farts. Like it's crazy.
So base. Yeah. And he's like this very respected actor.
Yeah, absolutely. But Brando had a prank of his own that was still ongoing that Depp did not know about yet. So they were supposed to begin shooting the following Monday. So I think this is just a day away, or a day and a half away. And at some point during their conversation talking about the film, Brando said to him, how's your accent coming along? And Depp had no idea what he was talking about. And Brando said, Dublin. You're supposed to be from Dublin. You're playing a reporter from Dublin. Then Johnny Depp had less than a day and a half to come up with a decent Irish accent before 5 a.m. on Monday. So he never told him he had to come up with this accent, and he had to do it so fast before filming this like little thing in the movie. Now, around this time, he also does a legendary interview with Larry King. This is the only interview he agrees to do to promote his book, Songs My Mother Taught Me. And it goes as weird as you might expect. You can watch this whole thing on YouTube. Marlon does his makeup to appear more like Larry King, so he has really dark eyebrows and he wears red suspenders when he shows up to like where they're filming this interview. He starts the interview off saying that he thinks he looks like Rudolph Valentino. He does not, obviously.
Wait, Larry King says that?
No, Marlon says that about himself. He thinks he looks great. He then spends the first part of the interview slamming the concept of the celebrity interview. And throughout the interview, he gets distracted for various reasons. I'll go into them. At some point, he's like, you're really sweating to Larry King. And then throughout the rest of the interview, he will stop the interview to blot Larry King's forehead for him with a napkin. He also feeds his big mastiff dog, Tim, treats from his own mouth during the interview. At some point, he reveals he's not wearing shoes. He holds his feet up so the camera can see them. He then starts singing an impromptu duet that he forces King to do with him.
Oh, my God.
And at some point during the interview, he kisses Larry King full on the mouth. Sorry. At one point, when King is like going to commercial, he's like, "We'll be right back." And Marlon takes the camera, puts his on directly on his face, and he's like, "I'm leaving now, no matter what he says," and starts laughing. So it's a pretty crazy interview. But he does another wild interview in 1994 that was not public at the time. And what he said in the interview wasn't revealed until a few years ago by a podcast called Telephone Stories, The Trials of Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson was under investigation for child molestation in 1994, the LA County District Attorney's Office had gotten word that there was a special relationship between Michael and Marlon Brando, whose son, as I mentioned, Miko, had been working for Jackson as a bodyguard/driver. Now, Jackson was supposedly teaching Brando how to dance, and Brando was teaching him how to act.
Come on. He's trying to teach him how to dance?
I want to see this. I want to see Marlon Brando do the moonwalk.
Jesus Christ.
So prosecutors Bill Hodgman, who we might remember as the first prosecutor in the OJ trial before Marcia Clark took over, and Lauren Weiss called the actor in to talk to him in privately rather than put him in front of the grand jury. And here's some of the things that he said to them in this interview. He said, quote, "I had asked him if he was a virgin, and he sort of laughed and giggled, and he called me Brando. He said, 'Oh, Brando.' I said, 'Well, what do you do for sex?' And he was acting fussy and embarrassed. He said that Brando said that Jackson asked Jackson if he masturbated, and he also just kind of giggled." I love Brando's like hardline questioning Michael Jackson about this stuff.
Is crazy, Desi.
He's like, he lives in a completely different world. He said he also started talking to Michael about what motivates people as far as acting goes. And he said that Michael Jackson didn't hold real emotions, and that was why he was unable to really, truly be a good actor. He said, quote, he said he hated his father and started to cry, so I pulled back. I started to tiptoe. I realized that he was in trouble with his life because he was living in a never, never land, and he couldn't swear. And for a 35-year-old man not to do that, being around people in show business seemed very odd. We were talking about human emotions and where it all comes from, and I could see from the way he behaved, he speaks in a very peculiar way for a man who is as old as my 35-year-old son, and he repeats the fact that he didn't swear, and he didn't want me to swear. He didn't like that either. He went on to say, I said, "Well, who are your friends?" He said, "I don't know anybody my own age. I don't like anybody my own age." And I said, "Why not?" He said, I don't know. He was crying hard enough that I tried to comfort him. I tried to help him all I could. Brando then told prosecutors he originally thought Jackson might be gay, but now he believed that, quote, "With this mode of behavior that's been going on, I think it's pretty reasonable to conclude that he may have had something to do with kids."
Wow.
He said, "My impression was that he didn't want to answer me because he was frightened to answer me." Now, they do continue to be friends, so I think Marlon was just kind of unsure, but he was like, I can see why people might think that, and maybe it's true, I don't know, kind of answer. So at this time, he's also starting the pre-production process on the island of Dr. Moreau. Now, this is a crazy story. I'm going to get into this. Possibly this is an episode that could be all on its own because there's so much stuff, but I'm going to give you the highlights. Brando's on-set hijinks are back in full force on the set of this movie. I used an article by Christy Puchoko from Pajiba. Is that how you say that?
I guess.
Pajiba. There's also a documentary that I had info from. It's called Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. So you can check out that as well if you want. Okay. So the chaotic events of the making of this film led to it becoming one of the most difficult and troubled productions in Hollywood history. A film version of this Dr. Moreau project was Dr. Moreau film was a passion project for director-writer Richard Stanley. And he was the original director on the film. He spent 4 years developing it before getting the green light from New Line Cinema. And they also stepped in to tell him that they had secured Marlon Brando for the role of Dr. Moreau at the same time. So at some point in all of this process, he thought he would be the director. He discovers that they had secretly gone behind his back and offered the movie to Roman Polanski, who declined.
What
so
the
it's
hell?
It's kind of cursed from the start.
This is so demented.
So he's obviously furious when he finds out, because this is like his thing. Like it's his baby.
He's obsessed with the island of Dr. Moreau.
Yes. So
sometimes, you know what it just kind of made me think of is like there's like a thing that happens because when someone's making their passion project, it truly is like very personal to them. And sometimes there's incidents where it's just like clearly not working out, but because it's someone's passion project and something they're just like hell-bent on making and completing.
Yeah.
They have like blinders up.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's very true.
Like they're going to get this done no matter what. They can't see all the red flags. This is happening. And they can't even see that their movie's going to be a piece of crap.
They're in their own like world with it, and nothing's going to stop their vision. And anyone who tries to interfere is like seen as a villain, right?
Yeah.
It's not someone trying to help them.
They're a hater.
Yeah, they're a hater. So obviously he's deeply upset about this. He goes to Marlon Brando and kind of tries to get him as an ally. He is very impressed, even though he didn't kind of want Brando initially, he's really impressed by Brando's understanding of his vision and its connection to Heart of Darkness, which is the book that Apocalypse Now was based on. And they do have some similarities if you know enough about both of them. So they kind of bond, and Brando becomes an advocate for Richard Stanley. So he's finally officially given the directing gig. And he recruits 2 more big stars. He gets Bruce Willis to play the second lead Edward Prendick. And he gets James Woods as Montgomery, who plays Dr. Moreau's chief assistant. Now, prep production is in full swing, but as shooting is about to begin, Bruce Willis leaves the film. Now, the rumor is that he left the film because he was in the process of divorcing wife Demi Moore at the time. The timeline doesn't exactly add up because technically they didn't really announce their separation until 1998, and the divorce happened 2 years later. But maybe they had relationship troubles. Who the hell knows why he left? No one really knows. He gets replaced by Val Kilmer, who immediately demands that he gets a 40% reduction in the number of days he's required on set. The way they solve this problem is that they switch Kilmer from the role that Willis was playing and gives him the role of Montgomery, which means James Woods is out of the production. And they still have to fill this role of Edward Prendick, like the second lead role. So New Line recruits actor Rob Morrow. He was from that show Northern Exposure. Mm-hmm. He gets the lead role now. Then another setback happens. As we're about to begin filming, Brando's daughter Cheyenne takes her own life. So he is devastated, obviously, and goes to his private Tahitian island to grieve. And now they're in limbo once again, not knowing when or if he'll ever show up. They don't know. So this is especially difficult for Richard Stanley because Brando was his main ally, and tensions are really flaring up as shooting is about to begin. Val Kilmer shows up on set 2 days late, and he has an attitude from the get-go. Now, once again, Kilmer attributes this behavior to the fact that just as filming began, he learned on TV that he was being sued for divorce by his wife of 7 years, Joanne Whalley. So he found this out right as he was leaving.
She was so disgusted by this film.
Yeah, yes, all the film's fault.
It's kind of remarkable that he went on to be Batman.
I mean, he's such an interesting actor.
His career is so interesting.
Because I know he has this reputation.
Really?
But then he has a reputation as being very difficult. And it was kind of cemented by this film. but I also kind of like him.
I always liked him, and I obviously liked Batman Forever.
Yes.
So I liked him because of that, because I loved that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just think he's an interesting guy. But yeah, he did have a reputation for kind of being difficult, kind of like Marlon. I mean,
yeah.
But on this one, it was like a little worse than normal. People described his behavior as kind of bullying, hostile. He was obstructive with this behavior because it would stop shooting and cause issues on set. He didn't deliver his dialogue as scripted, and he was really critical of Richard Stanley and his idea. What little footage was shot during these days was deemed unusable because he was such an asshole. Adding to this, they also were dealing with bad weather. This movie was shot in Australia. So you have the onset hostility, you have this weather. It's just a nightmare.
The spiders.
Oh, God.
You got the spiders.
Those bugs and all the other things. Making things even worse, 2 days after shooting, Rob Morrow is like, I cannot. And he leaves the movie.
Oh, my God.
So after a third day of filming, following emergency consultations with New Line executives, they fire Richard Stanley by fax.
Oh, no, not by fax.
By fax. So he's obviously incredibly angry. He starts shredding documents in revenge. And then when they send a limo to take him to the airport to go back to Hollywood, he vanishes and they don't know where he is.
Forever?
Well, no, not forever. But they're incredibly stressed about this because they're like, what is he going to do?
Right.
So, the executives are all like a bunch of fucking pencil pushing pussies. They're like, where is he? Like, so they're really scared because they don't know what the hell he's planning. And they speculate the reason he got fired was because he couldn't handle Val Kilmer. But I think it was a lot of things. So he had been offered his full fee on the condition that he left the production quietly and not speak to anyone about his firing. Mm-hmm. So that was another thing they were kind of worried about. Like they literally he's going to sabotage this movie now. Making things even more stressful, the female lead of the movie, Fairuza Balk, she leaves the set. She's so mad about his firing that she gets an assistant to drive her 2,500 kilometers from Cairns, where they're filming, to Sydney in Australia in a rented limousine. She's like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And her agents are like, get back there or your film career is over. So she basically has to go back. Now they need to find a director. And you can imagine no one wants to get involved in this shit mess. It's like a disaster. They eventually convinced director John Frankenheimer to do it by offering him obviously a huge salary, but a 3-picture deal as well. Another perk for him is that he had always wanted to work with Marlon Brando.
Well, the monkey's paw.
Yeah.
You finally achieved your dream. You're going to direct Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
But it's in the island of Dr. Moreau.
So David Thewlis is eventually hired to replace Rob Morrow, and production is once again shut down for a week to rewrite the script and kind of get his vision sort of involved in the process. But once it begins again, Marlon has now joined Kilmer in the Bad Behavior Club.
Uh-oh.
He's like, I can't let this guy do it alone. I'm also that guy. I'm the bad behavior guy.
Right.
I'm the one. You learn from me. And it does become a competition, Rachel. So God. Brando basically spends all his hours in his air conditioned trailer when he's supposed to be on camera. Other actors and extras are obviously sweltering in this tropical heat in full makeup and heavy costumes. So they start hating both Brando and Kilmer, and it escalates into open hostility. In the documentary, cast and crew are kept waiting for hours, and then each actor, Brando and Kilmer, refuse to come out of their trailers before the other. So they're waiting. They're doing petty shit like that. New scripts are being turned in daily, literally the day before sometimes they're shot. And Frankenheimer and Kilmer have arguments on set about this that gets so heated. Frankenheimer at some point stated after this film was done, I don't like Val Kilmer. I don't like his work ethic, and I don't want to be associated with him ever again.
Wow.
So according to David Thewlis in the documentary, we all had different ideas of where it should go. I even ended up improvising some of the main scenes with Marlon. So Thewlis was also rewriting his character personally. it was like the Wild West on this set. And this is probably why the movie is so disjointed and all over the place, because everyone was improvising and just writing their own things.
Everyone in this movie is acting in their own movie.
Yes. Now, Brando is obviously really irritated by the rewrites. And as on many previous production, he refuses to learn lines, and he is eventually equipped with a small radio receiver so that an assistant can feed his lines to him as he performed. Now, this led to some issues. Thulis recalls in the documentary, we would be in the middle of a scene and suddenly he'd be picking up police messages and he would say, "There's a robbery at Woolworths."
Yes.
So the friction between him and Kilmer also...
He's like picking up the local radio. He's like, all of a sudden they're filming and he's like, you gotta be big, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser.
Someone's like, that's brilliant. And it's like, oh, no. So at some point, Brando says to Kilmer, your problem is you confuse the size of your paycheck with the size of your talent.
And dick.
Wow. On completion of Kilmer's final scene, Frankenheimer is reported to have said to the crew, now get that bastard off my set.
To Brando?
To Kilmer.
Okay, I just keep getting confused.
Because they're both bad.
They're both divas.
They're both total divas. Another thing that Brando does that in particular infuriates the screenwriter, who at this point is now Ron Hutchinson, Brando becomes obsessed with the world's smallest man, Nelson De La Rosa, who plays his like sidekick in the movie. That's actually the basis for the Mike Myers Dr. Evil.
Mini-Me?
Yeah. He got that from this movie.
Oh my God.
He said that publicly. Like that was his inspiration. So this guy, Nelson De La Rosa, he's the world's smallest man. So he's very small.
Yeah.
And Marlon is like insisting that the script be revised so that he gets more dialogue and scenes. He wants this guy to have more lines, his sidekick.
Yeah.
And De La Rosa, who's only 27 at the time, he gets a massive ego because of this, and he starts acting up and lashing out too. Because now he's like, oh yeah, like Brando's on my side. Now he starts acting like a dick. And I guess his sister is on set. He uses his sister, I think he must not have English as a first language, because he uses his sister to translate pickup lines to the female extras, who all describe him as very sexual with them.
Oh my God.
So he's like a monster in the making. Now, the other funny thing about this thing, Richard Stanley did stay nearby, and at some point he came across the film's extras, and he convinces them to sneak him on set. He covertly played a bulldog man in several of the scenes without producers realizing.
Wait a minute. Richard Stanley, did he get his own did he do his own makeup?
I don't know how he did it, but he's in the movie as a bulldog man.
Iconic.
If you don't know the movie, it's like a lot of crossbreeding.
It's like animals,
creatures.
And half animal, half humans.
Yeah.
Or like half dog, half platypus.
He did get accused of saying that he wanted the production designer to burn the set down, but he said that he was just joking when he was just joking. But that did scare New Line, obviously.
How did he sneak himself into the movie?
I don't know. Like, he just like, it's crazy because they must have had no security or anyone like checking things. They had so many extras. At some point, Frankenheimer was like, I need more extras. And he literally just got a bunch of like ragtag hippies in a local town and brought them in. So they probably just had so many people on set.
I'm just still trying to comprehend like the process of Richard Stanley like posting an ad somewhere in the paper like, I need a MUA, a makeup artist, to come do my makeup. For this thing.
He's in full dogman makeup and costume.
Like no one even cares at this point on set because they're just like so stressed out.
They're just trying to get through it. So at the film's wrap party, Kilmer does apologize for Stanley's removal from the film. At this point, he's like realizing probably the bad press he's getting for this movie.
He's up for Batman.
Yeah. So the movie is obviously a complete bomb and embarrassment. Like This is like an infamous bomb.
Wait, what year did this come out?
It came out in 96.
Okay, so this is after Batman. But they filmed in 90. When did it film?
It started filming earlier than 96, obviously. I think in 94 it began.
I just mean it was filming before he was in Batman.
When did Batman come out?
95.
But he probably filmed Batman already. But he probably didn't like the bad press.
That's just what's so remarkable about his career is that he's like filming these two around the same time.
Yeah.
And they're so drastically different. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm sure the Tim Burton versus Joel Schumacher, it's like there's wildly different opinions on both. But
yes.
Not to go on a tangent, but this movie, Island of Dr. Moreau, is crazy.
I actually remember really wanting to see it.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see it so bad. I loved Fairuza Balk. Like,
yes.
I loved her in anything. I obviously knew Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer. Like, I liked both of those actors. I haven't seen it in so long, but I remember being like, I think it's not that bad. Because you went into it with such bad expectations.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It was definitely one of those expectation things. It's interesting to me. Like, it is crazy.
It kind of looks like a TV movie from the 90s.
And Marlon is so crazy in it.
Marlon Brando in The Island of Dr. Moreau is wearing like SPF 200 and his face is like covered in zinc.
Yeah.
It is like white.
It's the zinc sunscreen.
It's the zinc sunscreen.
But 100% coverage everywhere.
200 SPF.
He's wearing like a white muumuu.
He's wearing a white muumuu and like a head covering and he's just like rolling around.
It's wild. I mean, the story is crazy, period.
I like the story of Dr. Moreau, but this was such a misfire. And it was like so like instant unintentional hilarity.
We need like a good version, I think.
We do need a good version of this story.
So, obviously, Kilmer later in life, he denies having a feud with Brando. He shared a bunch of behind the scenes footage of good moments between them and Thulis and Frankenheimer as well in his documentary that came out recently, Val. And in his memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, he said that John Frankenheimer blamed him for ruining the movie. And he's like, don't blame me for the fact that you didn't make a good film. He's like, my character dies halfway through and the last half of the film sucks as bad as the first. So, I mean, that's a good point.
That is a good point. God, that's right. Val Kilmer was also in Tombstone.
Yeah. He's great in that.
I mean, he's fantastic.
That's a great one.
That's like his hottest role.
Yeah. That's
he's so
solely
hot.
exclusive for why I have a crush on Doc Holliday. Even though when I see Doc Holliday, I'm like, oh, wait. I mean, maybe he's the hottest of that group. Or,
Who, you know what? Wyatt Earp in IRL was actually pretty hot to me.
That's right. I remember looking at the pictures when we did those episodes.
If you want to listen to our Tombstone episodes, very proud of that 4-parter.
That was another long one.
We did that last year.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Okay, we're going to take a break. I have more crazy stuff for you after the break.
Okay.
So we end the 90s with Marlon signing on to do the score with Robert De Niro, who played young Vito Corleone in Godfather 2. And this is the only time that they are on screen together. Even though they were in these famous movies, they just never were on screen together. The score is a neo-noir heist thriller. It's directed by Frank Oz. It also stars Edward Norton, Angela Bassett. And this is Marlon's final screen role. Unfortunately for the cast, Marlon was difficult Marlon once again. He got his juices flowing. Island of Dr. Moreau. He's back, baby. During this production, Brando would repeatedly argue with Frank Oz, his director, and he would call him Miss Piggy.
No.
That's the character Frank Oz voiced for...
Oh, yeah.
He voiced Miss Piggy, so it's not like...
I thought he was... Oh, yeah.
It's still disrespectful.
It is still disrespectful, but it is kind of like, well, it is true.
But a very disrespectful thing to constantly call your director, for sure. But funny. He also would perform scenes sometimes in his underwear. He refused to be...
Like while the cameras are rolling,
Yes.
even though he's not supposed to be?
No, he was like, this is what I'm doing.
He's like,
is
this
me.
is an artistic choice.
Yeah. He would sometimes refuse to let Oz direct him. So Robert De Niro would take over. He would get like words from Oz through the assistant and like tell Marlon what to do. Marlon didn't want to take direct direction from him.
So we had to feed it to Robert De Niro.
So Oz confirmed this. He said, there was one scene, 2 days of shooting, where Marlon was too upset with me to act while I was on the set. I watched from outside with a monitor, and Bob was very good and acted as a mediator between us. Now, the tension did finally get released on set because Marlon started his pranks, which were obviously a coping device for him at this point. No one was in a good mood, and he started doing his pranks, including rigging up his remote-controlled fart machine. Again. He would make the fart sound go off every time Robert De Niro sat down on the couch. Sorry. I need footage of this.
That's amazing.
I need to see this.
I love that.
So that obviously made everyone laugh and kind of broke the tension on the set. After the movie was released, Frank Oz downplayed the conflict, saying, he's a very sweet, gracious child and childlike in some ways, very humane, very complex person. But I can't say that we got along all the time, and it wasn't because he was difficult. It was a difficult situation. I want to be true. We had a difference in creative interpretation of the role. He felt one way sincerely and earnestly, and I felt the other, and producers backed me, which I'm grateful for. And Marlon did come around to my side. So a very gracious quote from Frank Oz on working with him.
Yeah.
He also blamed himself. He's like, I didn't have the nurturing, directing style that Marlon needed. So he's like a little more confrontational. So he kind of blames himself for some of the issues. Okay. 9/11. We're here.
Well,
now we've talked about this story before, but I am going to get into it here since it's relevant to the subject.
Now what was the episode we did?
I was trying to remember that.
It was
like,
you know what? It was pretty recently.
It was conspiracy theories.
It was celebrity rumors and conspiracies part 2.
Yes. So there was a lot of post 9/11. There were a lot of lore and stories popping up all over the place
about everybody.
Where were you? What happened? There was just a lot of stuff to rifle through, and obviously that became a full-time job. Was that true? Well, people fact-checking things,
people were like, oh, I was supposed to be on that flight.
Yeah.
Marky Mark was like, I would have taken them down.
Yeah, so there was a lot of stuff like this, but perhaps nothing captured the imagination of people more than the story about Michael Jackson, Marlon Brando, and Elizabeth Taylor leaving New York City after 9/11 and embarking on a cross-country road trip. So I'm just going to touch on this a little bit here. As I said, we did talk about this before. I used for my source here an article by Zaron Burnett III. This is from Mel Magazine. He is a friend and writer I used to work with, and he has a podcast called Black Cowboys as well. So check him out. He's great. He talks about in his article the genesis of this. In 2001, Michael Jackson was in New York City to perform concerts at Madison Square Garden on September 7th and 10th. This was his 30th anniversary of his solo career. A lot of celebrities obviously attended these concerts, including his best friend Elizabeth Taylor. Eminem was there, Yoko Ono, Whitney Houston, and Brando was there as well. In fact, Brando was in the show.
Right.
The show opened with Brando sitting on stage in a leather chair while he fiddled with his watch. He then looked at the crowd and told them about the children being massacred overseas and credited Michael Jackson with saving them. When he was done with this, the first night of the performance, someone in the audience said, "Hey, Stella." So it was kind of like a crazy scene. I honestly wish I could have gone. Jackson then appears. He sits Roman emperor-like in a lit booth near the side of the stage, and he's air-kissing performers. Elizabeth Taylor and Macaulay Culkin are by his side. So this is like
this is
crazy.
Like, this is Michael's best friends.
The gang's all here.
The gang is all here, even Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. So Tim Mendelsohn, who was Elizabeth Taylor's assistant for 25 years, He told Vanity Fair they also have a huge article on this.
That's the source we use.
Source that I think we used for the first one, obviously is used for this as a source as well, but I didn't really look at it for this. He said that Michael Jackson received a call from friends in Saudi Arabia warning him that the U.S. was about to be under attack. That in and of itself is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, was Michael Jackson the first person in the country to know this was about to happen? Like, this is wild.
Yeah. Did that really happen?
I don't think that that's ever been confirmed or denied because this guy is saying it.
That's a wild thing to assert.
He knew before national security.
Right.
Although I do believe he is friends with like sheiks and stuff, or like people.
Sure.
Yeah, like he's friends with those rich Saudi Arabia.
I'm sure
whatever.
He was friends with a lot of people.
So he tells everyone that he's with, like who's in his hotel room post show, that they needed to get out of New York as quickly as possible. Elizabeth Taylor is at another hotel. So they're like, we got to get her too. Another person who was there was Corey Feldman. So the gang truly was all there.
Right.
Like even Corey Feldman.
But they wouldn't let Corey Feldman go on the road trip.
He said Michael was trying to get Elizabeth out. He was at first looking for a private jet. He wanted permission to fly out, but everything was surreal. I didn't go with him. the saddest quote of all time. Now, another eyewitness was a former employee of Michael Jackson, and he credited his boss with coordinating this road trip travel arrangement, saying that Michael guided Taylor and Brando to a spot in New Jersey. There they got like a rental car and they hit the road. He says they actually got as far as Ohio, all three of them, in a car they drove themselves. Another famous claim here is that Brando annoyed them because he insisted that they stop at nearly every KFC and Burger King they passed along the highway. So obviously there are people who remember things very differently. A source from the Vanity Fair store, and I guess an anonymous source, said Elizabeth did stay behind. She went to church to pray. She went down to Ground Zero at some point where she met with first responders, and eventually the airports opened and she flew home. Another person, Stacey Brown, she was a close family friend. She did a big interview in an article for the New York Post, and she basically put the kibosh on the whole wonderful story.
The road trip.
So kind of like, I guess, but why ruin this for us?
We didn't need the truth about this.
Sometimes we don't want the truth. And she basically said Michael did leave, but he was with his family.
Right.
He did not take Elizabeth Taylor and Brando with him. Elizabeth Taylor went off to meet Debbie Reynolds at some point, and they were supposedly going to travel to the West Coast together. Yeah, I mean, this is a wild story, and I just love it. Obviously, this eventually became a segment on an urban legend show in the UK that never aired.
Yeah, we talked about this, the Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, so, I mean, God bless. I love it.
I love
a
this
wonderful story.
My favorite detail will always be that Marlon Brando made everyone stop at every single KFC along the way.
I do too.
Because that's believable.
I mean, and he would have.
He would have done that.
And I just love, like, of all people, these three, because they do have this similar...
They have a connection.
They have this connection, and it makes sense.
Well,
and
it's just so camp.
Picturing them together doing anything normal
it's impossible.
It's a dream. It's like,
yeah.
I want to know about it because I love the weirdness of it all.
Well, maybe they're doing something normal, but none of them are being normal.
Exactly. They're like, in normal circumstances.
They're having a zany road trip.
Yeah. Okay. So Brando may have been done acting on the screen, but he was not done with acting. I found an amazing article in The Hollywood Reporter by Benjamin Svetke that gives a detailed account of Brando's 10-day acting class that included 20 young acting students, as well as 12 famous actors such as Sean Penn, Whoopi Goldberg, Robin Williams, Nick Nolte, Edward James Olmos, and Harry Dean Stanton. So how did we get here? Well, once again, Brando was feeling the financial stresses of life, and he was thinking about some get-rich-quick schemes. According to his longtime secretary, Alice Marchek, he called me to discuss products he could sell on QVC. He was looking to generate money, but the products he came up with weren't viable. He had an idea for an earthquake-proof house and a way to air-condition homes that involved drilling, things that you really couldn't sell on a QVC.
They're saying, Marlon, we need you to like design a pashmina.
Yeah,
We
or
can
like
sell
some
that.
bath soap or something. Some pots and pans.
Make us some pots.
I told him he could make money if his face or voice was a part of the product, and I suggested acting classes. So Brando had set aside $50,000 for this QVC startup idea that he wanted to do, and instead he decided to use it to produce a series of DVDs about acting. He rented a warehouse, he had a wooden stage built, and he invited his famous friends to participate, as well as hiring a crew and a director to film all 10 sessions. The course was called Lying for a Living, and there was no syllabus, and students truly had no idea what to expect. The whole class was improv from beginning to end, said Edward James Olmos. Nothing was planned. Brando's only rule was that everyone had to participate, even the stars. If these people were looking for a once-in-a-lifetime experience with the 78-year-old living legend, they got what they came for from the moment Brando burst into the room on day one. When the doors flung open, he appeared wearing a blonde wig, blue mascara, a black gown with an orange scarf, and a bodice stuffed with gigantic falsies. Waving a single rose in one hand, he sashayed through the warehouse, plunked his 300-pound body down in a throne-like chair, and began fussily applying lipstick. He said, "I am furious, furious." In an matronly English accent, he launched into an improvised monologue that ended 10 minutes later with the actor turning around, lifting his gown, and mooning the crowd.
Oh, I wish I could have seen that.
This is art.
I love this.
So Brando wasn't the only person who made an entrance that day. The director he hired was Tony Kaye, who is also like a kind of nightmare person. He directed American History X with Edward Norton, and they kind of famously had a lot of issues on set as well. So he shows up after Marlon, and he has even a crazier look. This is just months after 9/11, and he came in dressed as Osama bin Laden.
Come on, dude.
Like, what is going
wrong
on?
with you?
So he later says in this the Hollywood Reporter interview, he's like, President Bush had said, don't let 9/11 stop you from being yourself. If the terrorists stop you from being yourself, they've won. So I thought, I'll dress like Osama bin Laden. So that's his reasoning. He showed Bush. Only days in, Kaye and Brando began to clash. What set Brando off was these young actresses were improvising, and he stops them at some point and says, "You're boring." Now, he's the director of the DVD type stuff. He's just there to film. He's not actually like interacting with the actors. And Brando was like, "I'm the director. I'm the person who yells cut."
So Tony is he's filming while dressed as Osama.
He's basically a cameraman. Yeah, dressed as Osama bin Laden.
He's trying to steal the spotlight,
I guess, or maybe they weren't clear on what each other's roles were. And this just like started like a firebomb between the two of them, according to this article. Brando looked at him like he had just killed his firstborn. Like he was very upset that he interrupted these young actresses. So the camera was actually rolling the whole time. And at some point, Kaye was like, "This is great. We got to get this." See, he was like looking at everyone like, how are we all reacting to this tension? Like, it's like, this is not your project, dude.
He's like an early reality show producer.
Yes. So one of the people that Tony Kaye had invited as an actor in this class was Tony Ward.
Oh.
So this is a male model who was best known at the time for having dated Madonna. He actually rises to defend Tony Kaye, calling the seminar a circus, and Brando tells him to leave. And he does. As he's leaving, he's like, "I have no career anyway."
Oh.
Which is sad, but also like, well, it's nice that you're self-aware, I guess. And then Tony Kaye walks out with him and takes all of the acting students that he brought into the class with him. They obviously never speak again. Later on, he does say, I was stupid. I should have gone back in and carried on, but I didn't. So now they're kind of screwed because they lost a lot of their students. Edward James almost actually gets more students to come in, like ones he knows from the Sanford Meisner acting studio in LA.
I mean, I can imagine it wouldn't be difficult to get anyone to come to that class.
I agree. So the class just kind of continues filming. So Brando, he's not in his gown anymore. For the rest of the class, he does wear a comfortable muumuu. He basically sits up there, call students onto stage and has them improvise for a few minutes. And then he will rip their work to shreds. His most famous thing is lies. He doesn't believe them. If he doesn't believe them, they're failing at acting. Actor Peter Coyote, who also attended the workshop, said, "You're performing in front of one of the greatest actors who ever lived." He distinguished himself by having this bullshit detector that is unmatched. So if he looks at your performance and senses bullshit, that's something you'd want to know. It's something I'd want to know. Many of the bigger stars stopped coming after the first week, including Leonardo DiCaprio. He showed up on day one, but when he was asked if he could run the video camera or something, I can't remember exactly what it was. Brando kicked him out. He was like, bye. He didn't give two shits about anybody. Only a handful of the diehard stars stayed, including Edward James Olmos, Sean Penn, and Robin Williams stayed every day of the 10 days because he's smart. Why would you miss this?
Right.
I would be there every day from the fucking first moment to the end. This is a once in a lifetime thing. So obviously these guys like Edward James Olmos are like, there's a method to his madness. This class was as serious as a heart attack, even though it might have seemed crazy. There was something he was trying to do before. He had never taught an acting class before. So this was truly a once in a lifetime thing. And this was going to be a legacy to the acting community.
I would give anything to go to this class.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. So he almost did everything Brando told him to do. He didn't have any ego about it. He even the drag and the mooning on the first day, he was like, that's all part of the thing, stripping people down and getting them to this raw emotion. And he's like, it's kind of a metaphor. You must be willing to show your ass and fail. So if you don't want to do that, get the fuck out of here. Now, some of the things he did, one of the sessions, he brought in a troupe of little people and a team of Samoan wrestlers, and he had them improvise exercises together on stage for the class. Another time, he got a homeless man off the street and brought him in for acting lessons to show the realness to his students. He had students strip naked in front of the entire class, which is definitely questionable, but whatever. He had a reason for it. It definitely wasn't pervy for him, I don't think. He had a jazz musician come in and play piano. He had the French tightrope walker who walked across the Twin Towers come in and do stunts. Michael Jackson came in for a class.
This is insane, Debbie.
He also had Robin Williams do a 30-minute improv routine haggling with a real used car salesman.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I know, this is all incredible. DVDs of the seminar did not end up on QVC or anywhere else. After it ended, Brando made a few attempts at editing this footage, but he eventually grew frustrated and moved on to other projects, which is completely unsurprising. Well, in his will, he left the footage to producer Mike Medavoy. Part of that estate was this Lying for a Living seminar, some of the things he left him. There are hundreds and hundreds of hours of digital film that has been preserved, but Medavoy has no plans to ever release them. He's like, they're under lock and key and no one is ever going to look at them. What would be the point of releasing the tapes now? I mean, are you an idiot?
We want to see them.
Yeah.
What would be the point? That's history.
He's like, we're not going to sell them. We're not going to rent them. There's no reason to do it.
Don't sell them. Make them for free.
Just make them for free.
Put them in a museum.
if Marlon was around today, he'd tell you not to write about the seminar. He'd tell you to write about something important. He'd tell you to write about the war or the environment.
Do both.
We don't care. We want the tapes.
Do both.
Also, this is the Hollywood Reporter. What else are they supposed to write about? Like, this is not the New York Times.
Yeah.
So Peter Coyote agrees with us. He said the tape should be public. It's not about selling Marlon Brando. It's about sharing Marlon Brando's knowledge of acting with actors and people who care about acting. The knowledge is priceless. And they would be priceless even if Marlon was drunk in them. It's Brando.
I want an education.
Yeah. He's like, we'll never see someone like him ever again. And that is like, truer words have never been spoken.
I need this for my soul and my spirit.
What is Mike Medavoy is an idiot. I want to like kick his ass.
This is ego. This is ego because he's the only one who can see them.
You know he's watching them.
He's watching them all day.
He probably plays them at parties. I bet. Don't you agree? Because people have seen snippets, I think. Like,
I bet he says he's having a party and that he's gonna play the tapes, and then he has the party and he doesn't get around to it.
I need those tapes. How do we get them?
Maybe we shouldn't be talking too much shit about him because we could be friends with him.
Yeah. Love you, Michael. So Marlon does continue doing things here and there in his final years, including patenting some innovations in the conga drum production. He like invents a new way of like applying the skin on the top or something. This guy is just so all over the place.
This guy's a real Renaissance man.
He is. He also records voice tracks for the character of Mrs. Sour in an unreleased animated film called Big Bug Man.
Release the film.
Release the film. Release the footage. He pays regular visits to Neverland Ranch. That's his place where he goes to rest. He also stars in the 13-minute long music video, You Rock My World. He's in that video. With Michael Jackson. Brando's son, Miko, he said that the last time his father left his house to go anywhere, it was to spend time at Neverland Ranch. He loved it. It had a 24-hour chef, 24-hour security, help, kitchen, maid service, just carte blanche experience. And Michael was really instrumental in helping Marlon through the last few years of his life when he was very sick. He had a pulmonary lung disease, so he was, suffering through that. He had to be on oxygen. And he also loved the outdoors, so he could be in this ranch, which was kind of near Santa Barbara, right? It's like up there somewhere. So he could be surrounded by flowers and trees. It was like a huge place. There was a golf cart that could cart him around. So it was a good place for him to be. Michael had a golf cart made for him that had an oxygen tank on it.
Did he go on the roller coaster?
Probably not at that point.
Are you sure?
I haven't seen that.
Michael didn't load him into the ride
with a oxygen mask on.
Just said, have a good time.
I don't know if Marlon could have handled it. He might have been too sick at this point. On July 1st, 2004, I just realized that's 20 years ago.
Wait. That was 20 years ago?
Almost 20 years ago.
I don't like that.
That's a long time ago.
I don't like that that's a long time ago.
I know, 2000s are still very close.
That was like yesterday.
So I'm just shook because I was like, oh, wow, this is like the 20th anniversary of his death when we're doing this series, or it's ending. So he dies of respiratory failure from pulmonary fibrosis and congestive heart failure at UCLA Medical Center. He also suffered from diabetes and had liver cancer. So he had a lot of issues. Shortly before his death, he did record his voice to appear in The Godfather, the game, as Don Vito Corleone. He only ended up doing one line because his health was so bad at that point. An impersonator was hired to finish his lines, but that single recorded line is included in the final game as a tribute to him.
A video game?
Yeah, a video game. The Godfather, the game. I don't know. There's a lot of video games.
I know.
He was cremated and his ashes were put with those that he stole of Wally Cox. And then they were scattered in Tahiti and in Death Valley. So he was with his friend Wally Cox to the end. Of course, during his memorial service, we weren't done with weird Marlon Brando stories.
Did they play farts?
They should have. They should have.
Would have been a great send-off.
As they're like
the taps. Instead of taps, they play farts.
Every celebrity should have recorded a fart to be played at his memorial service. And instead of a eulogy, and now we'll hear from Johnny Depp. We just hear a fart.
And now we'll hear from Jimmy Stewart, even though he's dead. It's what we imagine his fart to sound like.
Michael Jackson's a squeaky.
Of course, he's got a squeaky ass fart
because he's holding it in because he's too uptight.
He's also he's like spinning around a lot.
His fart is falsetto.
It's a falsetto fart for sure.
Okay. We need to stop ourselves before we go off the rails.
Well, no, we need to stop ourselves because we need to end this episode. And we could go on talking about this for 30 minutes.
Right, absolutely.
And then people will unsubscribe.
So Ed Begley Jr. speaks at his memorial service.
I love Ed.
Me too. Obviously, if you know Ed, he is a huge environmentalist. He is a big proponent of alternative energy sources. And he told a story about a conversation he had with Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando wanted to harness the power of electric eels to source as an energy source to power his home.
Electric eels?
Yes.
Is that even possible?
No, it's not possible. But that was his little brain, little scheme he came up with in his brain. He's always thinking. Now, he actually summoned Ed to his house because he's like, we need to discuss this urgent matter. Like, he truly thought he had saved the world with this idea.
This is out of some comic book. Supervillain harnesses the power of electric eels.
A D-list comic where they're like, we got the scrags of the ideas left for the villain. So Brando was very frustrated that Begley was kind of like, I don't know about this. I guess he thought, when you think you're going to tell someone a great idea and they're like, So Brando was very disappointed. And he's like, all my ideas always get that reaction.
Well, some of them are better than others.
Yeah, the fart machine can't be topped. So he goes ahead with the plan, though, himself and puts the electric eels in his swimming pool to but I don't know where was he going to do?
But where's the energy going?
I don't know. That's the first step. But unfortunately, this idea became, what is it? Moot.
Okay,
it was a failure. It was a failure. I'm getting hot. When his son's girlfriend jumped in the pool, not realizing and got shocked.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So then he was like, I guess we can't do that.
Marlon Brando actually wrote the song Electric Feel for MGMT. Don't look that up, but it's a fact.
It's a fact. And that's it.
Dude.
That's all we got. There's so much more, as I said up top. It was overwhelming.
This has been a 5-part episode. You've done such a good job. This is the most parts of an episode we've ever done.
Really?
On Hollywood Crime Scene.
5?
I don't think we've ever done a 5-part. We've done plenty of 4s.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of 4-parters, but not a 5.
Yeah. So I hope that you enjoyed it.
I think the people did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Marlon heads out there.
I feel like if you hadn't known a lot about him, I learned a lot. I learned a ton. I didn't know anything. I think
learned so much. I just want to take this last couple minutes of the show to say that this is our last main episode before we go on break for July. We will be doing a mini episode in the next few days, and that'll be up soon. We will have content coming in July. We just aren't doing main episodes. We're going to be recapping some more summertime horror films, and I have the list of those in a post I made on Instagram recently, so you can go check those out. All of our Patreon content will be there for the month of July, as regularly scheduled. So everything, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll get all the normal content you always get for July.
Yeah. And if you want to check out Patreon, you can do a 7-day free trial.
Yeah.
And check it out, especially next month. Maybe you want some more content. You have some vacation time. You need things to listen in the road trip. or on an airplane ride.
We have a smorgasbord
Yeah.
of content on Patreon. Not only do we have many recaps of old TV shows, but we also have bonus episodes, things that are full-length episodes that don't fall within the Hollywood or Los Angeles realm, things that are Patreon exclusive episodes.
Yeah. Also, I love seeing your dumb bitch hats. So if you need one for summer, I'm telling you, people are like, this gets so many comments. Everyone wants one.
or if you want a Hell Taco hat.
Yeah.
I've been wearing that this summer.
There's a lot of, get some summer fits going.
If you want to know, there's also a dumb bitch ghost hunter hat. It's a trucker hat. It's super cute.
Yeah. So
if you want to be if you're like a spooky dumb bitch,
that's for you.
That hat is for you. And there's a tote.
Yes. So there's lots of stuff to keep you busy.
I'll put the links to our merch site and our Patreon in the show notes, patreon.com/Hollywood Crime Scene and HollywoodCrimeScene.com for the merch.
Yeah. Go check it out.
That's it. Bye.